Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. To deter thieves from stealing catalytic converters, it's often recommended to park in a secure, well-lit parking area. But as Valley News Team's Alex Larson finds, that may not be enough.
I think there's something wrong with this car. It's extremely loud.
Last week, Paul Tweeton noticed something wasn't right with his car, which was parked in his apartment's underground garage.
Didn't really, investigate or even think to look underneath. I thought, well, this might be engine related.
Hoping it was safe to drive, he brought it to a mechanic. That's when the mechanic told him his catalytic converter was missing. A new one is estimated to cost him around $2,000.
The mechanic said that they get several a week, like 3 or 4 a week. And the insurance guy said that they get 5 to 6 a week of catalytic converters being stolen.
Tweeton says he recently learned other vehicles in the garage had their catalytic converters stolen too. He thinks the culprit stole all of them on the same night.
Well, it is a secured building, but I think anybody in an apartment knows that if somebody wants to get in, there are ways.
His mechanic told him vehicles that are higher up off the ground are targeted because they're easier to get under. Thieves can get quite a bit of money for selling catalytic converters because of the expensive metals inside.
It's just one of those things that it's kind of hard to prevent.
However, there are programs hoping to prevent these types of crimes. Some local mechanics are offering to engrave or add a label of their vehicle's information onto the part, or add bright paint to deter thieves.
I'm going to put the new one in my vehicle. I'm definitely going to paint it with a high temperature orange paint.
Alex Larson, Valley News Live.
Well, we could be in for a warm-up, but how soon could we see it in our forecast? Summer's here now with details. Hey, Summer.
Hey, Nishay. Unfortunately, that warm-up is not tonight or tomorrow. Take a look at just how cold it was this morning. We had many areas in the teens and even some 20s below zero. In Fargo, our low temperature was 13 below. Same thing with Fergus Falls, 15 below in Grand Forks. Very cold up in Cavalier, 20 degrees below zero. And high temperatures today remained below zero. Tomorrow, a lot of the same, even temperatures right now in the single digits and teens below. Get ready for another cold Monday. I'll time out your hour-by-hour forecast and when and where the coldest temperatures and wind chills are expected. And of course, a look at that gorgeous warm-up coming up here in just a few minutes, Nishay.
All right. Thank you so much, Summer. New tonight at 9, a federal judge says attorneys cannot use intellectual disability as a factor in the second death penalty debate for a man convicted in the killing of University of North Dakota student Drew Shadeen. Judge Ralph Erickson last year ordered a new sentencing phase for Alfonso Rodriguez Jr. after ruling that misleading testimony and the failure of lawyers to outline the possibility of an insanity defense violated Rodriguez's constitutional rights. This overturned the 2006 death penalty conviction. Defense attorneys then filed a motion asking Erickson to reconsider intellectual disability as a defense, but the judge said in an order last week that it can't be considered, citing Rodriguez has not met his burden of establishing he is intellectually disabled and categorically ineligible for the death penalty. The Hennepin County Sheriff again says he's staying in office despite growing calls for him to resign. Sheriff Dave Hutchinson pleaded guilty to a drunk driving rollover crash in a county vehicle back in early December. This week, a search warrant revealed Hutchinson denied being the driver of the rollover crash and told first responders a cab driver was behind the wheel. Now, calls for Sheriff Dave Hutchinson to resign are coming in one after the other. It started on Wednesday with Commissioner Irene Fernando. She sent Hutchinson a letter and in a tweet called his actions egregious and comments since the crash unjustifiable. In a statement on Friday, Hutchinson said, quote, "I am fully committed to continuing to serve the people of Hennepin County who elected me. I will let the citizens, not politicians, decide my future in November." The only way Hutchinson could be forced out is through a recall process. Meanwhile, Boss's Pizza and Chicken in downtown Fargo is set to open February 1st, but there's been some trouble surrounding the restaurant's liquor license. Last month, Fargo Police Chief Dave Zabalski recommended denying the approval of the license due to the appointed manager having a history of drug use and recent convictions. The Liquor Control Board approved the license on the basis of a new manager being put in place. The Fargo City Commission is expected to revisit the discussion and allow for public input on the topic during its meeting tomorrow. The North Dakota Department of Health is also seeing a major increase in COVID testing statewide. The influx is due to holiday travel and the newest variant, Omicron. The department says this winter season they have done more testing than last year due to the decrease in mitigation efforts. Supply chain issues, in addition with increased testing nationwide, has caused a shortage in testing kits. But Nicole Brunel with the Department of Health says that's not a worry for North Dakotans just yet.
Right now, we are good with our inventory. And then we have a stock of expired tests also that can be utilized in emergency situations with emergency approval. There are many states that have been forced to do that because the supply chain is so low, but it's better than nothing.
Brunel adds the state's current test supplier is still able to maintain their inventory comfortably. While the U.S. grapples with record COVID case numbers, some health experts are seeing signs the highly contagious Omicron variant may about to peak in parts of the country while still spreading in others. Elise Preston reports.
Amid a punishing winter surge, former FDA Commissioner Scott Gottlieb says Omicron may soon be peaking in parts of the U.S.
If you look what's happening across the East Coast right now, New York City, Washington, D.C., Maryland, probably Florida as well have already peaked, maybe Delaware and Rhode Island.
But the doctor warns other regions may still be in for the worst from the fast-moving variant.
The risk right now is to the Midwest, where you have rising infection, where they aren't in the thick of their Omicron wave yet.
It took 6 months for the U.S. to report its first 4 million COVID-19 cases early in the pandemic. The last 4 million took 1 week. The number of COVID patients at Southeast Georgia Health System near Savannah more than doubled in 1 week.
I don't know when a finish line will be. I don't see one. I think COVID is something we're going to be dealing with for a while.
The unprecedented spike in COVID cases is creating staffing shortfalls across private and public sectors. Schools are looking for ways to keep children learning in person, but the nation's third largest district is still in limbo after teachers stopped showing up last week.
What the Chicago Teachers Union did was an illegal walkout. They abandoned their posts and they abandoned kids and their families.
This weekend, the Chicago Teachers Union called for additional safety measures and proposed a plan for remote learning until mid-January.
Meanwhile, 19 people have died as a result of a 5-alarm fire in the Bronx, New York today, and dozens more have been seriously injured. According to New York City Mayor Eric Adams, 9 children are among the 19 dead. More than 60 people were reported hurt as a massive fire broke out in a high-rise apartment building. It took more than 200 firefighters to knock the blaze down. Investigators believe it may be the worst fire in the city in more than 30 years. More than 24 people were rescued in Wisconsin from a floating piece of ice yesterday. Authorities received a report that a huge chunk of ice broke off from the shore and a group of people were on it. The people on the ice were all fishing when it broke off at the time. By the time the rescue was over, the sheet of ice was about a mile offshore. Fortunately, no one was injured. Starting this week, snowplows will be passing through West Fargo streets. The Public Works Department will continue plowing under the maintenance zone schedule, which will split the city into 5 sections to have snow picked up on assigned days. Plows are expected to hit the southwest portion of the city tomorrow. This means no on-street parking for the week. Any vehicles parked in specific zones on assigned days will be ticketed or towed. If you are just getting around to taking down your Christmas tree, there are only just a few more days left to have them picked up. Residents have until January 14th. All trees must be left on the curb on the boulevard All stands must also be removed and it should be free of decorations. The trees may not always be picked up with the trash, so leave them on the curb until they can be picked up. Also, those buried in snowbanks will not be picked up. Now, in unfortunate news, actor Bob Saget has died. He is best known for his role as Danny Tanner on the sitcom Full House. The Orange County Sheriff's Office tweeted deputies were called to the Ritz-Carlton in Orlando, where they found the actor unresponsive in a hotel room. Detectives say there are no signs of foul play or drug use. Bob Saget was 65 years old. Will people watch movies like they used to? Later on Valley News Live at 9, more on the future of movie theaters.
And it's a good night and day tomorrow to stay inside and watch a movie. Temperatures dipping down to 20 below zero here in Fargo by Monday morning. It's another first alert weather day for that Arctic air that's sticking around. But a warm up is in sight. More details coming up right after the break. Good Sunday evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. It's another first alert weather day tonight through tomorrow because that Arctic air mass just isn't wanting to budge for the last few days. It's cold out there right now in Fargo under clear skies, 12 degrees below zero. The wind is only out of the west at 5 miles per hour, but our wind chill is 24 degrees below zero and cold in the north as well. 14 below zero right now in Grand Forks. Wind is westerly at 9 miles per hour. And look at that wind chill. Already feeling like 33 degrees below zero. Temperatures across the region have mostly fallen into the teens below. We're lucky in Jamestown. It's 7 below right now, 8 below in Oaks, 9 below in Detroit Lakes, but we're as cold as 18 degrees below zero in Hallock at this hour. And look at our wind chills, 41 degrees below zero is that feels like temperature in Langdon right now. Feels like 35 below in Bemidji, 31 below in Baudette. The areas that you see the black shading is between 30 to 40 degrees below zero for feels like temperatures. Your wind chill. We have a wind chill advisory until noon tomorrow for the areas shaded in blue for wind chills as cold as 40 degrees below zero, and a wind chill warning until noon tomorrow for those wind chills as cold as 45 degrees below zero. Timing things out in your hour-by-hour forecast, we're under mostly clear skies, not a lot of wind. Those are two ingredients that we need for those bitter cold temperatures. Will continue to fall throughout the night. Many areas as cold as teens to 20s below, but look at the wind chill. This is by 7:30 tomorrow morning. Make sure the kids are bundled up, sending them back to school. Make sure they're dressed in layers. Northwestern Minnesota is where we'll see those temperatures in the mid-20s below, with wind chill values very close to 40 to 45 degrees below zero. We do have a few clouds that move in throughout the afternoon, but overall a fairly sunny day until the evening. Then clouds really start to increase as a warm front will be approaching, and warm front means warmer temperatures. 12 degrees by 11 o'clock tomorrow in Bismarck, and that warmer air is going to move from the west to the east overnight. So rising temperatures tomorrow night. But the bus stop tomorrow, again, very frigid after that winter break. Off to school, 20 degrees below zero, and even headed home still below zero with bitterly cold and dangerous wind chills. So lots of layers. Take them off once you get to school. Tomorrow morning temperatures 25 below in Thief River Falls, 12 below in Valley City, 15 below in Devil's Lake, 23 below in Bemidji. And by the afternoon, again, majority of us staying below zero, aside from Oaks, Jamestown, Aberdeen, as that warm front starts to move in. And look at what that warm front does for us. We're above zero by Tuesday morning, near 30 degrees for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, even into Friday. That's a good 10 degrees above average. We could very likely see steady or falling temperatures Friday as the system passes through, bringing us a bit more breezy conditions, a chance for light snow, one day of cooler air behind it, but then we warm back up into Sunday with some moderating temperatures. Stick around, we got more news coming up for you right after the break.
Welcome back. Spider-Man has topped $1 billion in global ticket sales, but not every holiday movie was a box office hit. So what does that mean for the future of movie theaters post-pandemic? Here's more.
In 1985, this was the line to see the just-released James Bond film, A View to a Kill. This year, if you wanted to watch Bond, James Bond, you didn't have to wait at all. It was available on demand within days of its theatrical release. And that has a lot of people wondering if watching movies the way we used to will ever come back.
It feels like with each passing month, we get a little bit closer to stability in the marketplace. The problem is that the stability in the marketplace might end up looking very different than the stability of the marketplace pre-pandemic.
That's what the Quorum, a film research and data firm founded by David Herron, learned. They found of people who stopped going to the movies, 13% stopped when the Delta variant emerged. 29% stopped going when the pandemic started and said they hoped to go back someday. And 8% said they were likely lost from the theater crowd.
There is still a huge market out there of adults and older people and younger people and families that love the theatrical experience. And so once you start to see that profit margin dwindle for the studio and then start to say, okay, well, we can make more money if we just go direct to consumer, I think that's when the real breaking point is going to be.
The Quorum found 3 driving factors for why folks haven't returned to the big screen. Concerns over safety is definitely up there, but so is price sensitivity and the theater experience. Those issues existed long before COVID.
And so this idea of building new seats, those are high infrastructure costs that really many of them can't do at this moment.
High-level diplomatic talks between the White House and Moscow are scheduled tomorrow. When we come back, more on the hot topic at hand. High-level diplomatic talks between the White House and Moscow are scheduled for tomorrow. The topic at hand, easing tensions on the Ukraine border while attempting to prevent a possible war. John Lawrence reports.
The Biden White House says the Kremlin is facing 2 options.
There's a path of dialogue and diplomacy to try to resolve some of these differences and avoid a confrontation. The other path is confrontation and massive consequences for Russia if it renews its aggression on Ukraine.
President Joe Biden, who spoke with President Vladimir Putin before the new year for nearly an hour, has vowed to take severe action against Russia's economy if the country further invades Ukraine.
Not only are we standing up, but we have rallied countries, not just in Europe, but indeed beyond, to make it clear to Russia that this aggression will not be accepted, will not be tolerated, will not stand.
The White House's stand toward Russia is getting support from the GOP.
As long as the administration is moving forward and they are very clear to Mr. Putin that his antics are not going to be rewarded, then we're going to be very supportive of the administration. If additional sanctions have to be imposed to send that message, that would be appropriate.
As for the talks, the White House admits expectations are low.
it's hard to see making actual progress, as opposed to talking, in an atmosphere of escalation with a gun to Ukraine's head. So if we're actually going to make progress, we're going to have to see de-escalation.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Still ahead tonight, Summer has one more look at your weather.
Bundle up again tomorrow morning. Temperatures are going to be bitterly cold, right around 20 degrees below here in Fargo. That's not including any wind chill. And into the afternoon, peak heating right around 3 degrees below zero. But then we continue to warm up. A warm front will be moving in, bringing our temperatures above zero by Tuesday morning. And look at that beauty. Temperatures near 30 for a few days before our next chance of light snow on Friday.
All those poor kiddos tomorrow morning.
Oh, I know. Bundle up. Be
Yeah.
safe and warm.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us.